It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, we survived a Monday, which, when you off on Memorial Day, Monday for 95.3% of us came on Tuesday this week. Here we are already at Hump Day, Wassailing Wednesday. John, who you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm going to stump the band again here.
Okay.
In the days before the big men, like Andre the Giant and Big John Studd and
King Kong Bundy
and all those, you had the kind of the circus effect, with people like Haystack Calhoun, and people like that.
You ain't never seen something this big.
No, but there was a man named Tex McKenzie.
Oh.
In the days before, big men like Andre, Tex McKenzie was 6'10", weighed 280 pounds.
Man, back in the day, he was a giant.
That was a big deal,
Yes, sir.
Debuted in 1950. He competed in the AWA, IWA, Australia. Of course, the National Wrestling Alliance. Maple Leaf Wrestling. He went to Calgary and stayed a long time with Stu Hart.
Very cool.
Big guy.
Oh yeah.
That was a big man for those days.
Oh yeah, because look at the NBA. The biggest guy out there, George Mikan, I believe was his name. Played for the Lakers, led them to all kinds of championships in the 40s. He's only 6'9".
Yeah,
and they said he was just huge. He just towered over everybody back then. Dadgum, they got point guards that are 6'9" nowadays. But anyway.
But Tex McKenzie was a traditionally baby face. Always went against the bad guys and had a big feud with the Sheik, for the U.S. title. The Fabulous Kangaroos, he always ended up with a tag team partner and went against the Fabulous Kangaroos. But
he's rubbing elbows with some Hall of Famers there.
I got into wrestling when I was young, about the time he was getting out. He debuted in 1950. Retired from wrestling in 1979. He was inducted into the Stampede Wrestling Hall of Fame and Northwest Wrestling Hall of Fame. But he was kind of the cowboy type figure,
Wow, a name like Tex, that makes sense.
Always wore a cowboy hat and a black vest, and was traditionally good guy, big guy for his time. Made the circuit, done a lot of tag team wrestling. Had a long-running feud with Ole Anderson when he first got into wrestling.
Well, a lot of those big guys and everything, one of those subtle things that they would do is you'd always put them in a tag team match. Andre was in a truckload of tag team matches and everything because nobody was going to beat Andre one-on-one. So you put him in a tag team match, let the other team beat up on his partner for the majority of the match, and then the big guy comes in and makes the big save.
And that's how they did it, to get folks back in. He always, he was one of those kind of an itinerant guy. Didn't stay in one place very long. He'd stay a little while, get something built, go to Japan, come back, finish that feud, move on to the next place.
And old Japan, man, they love their big guys, man. They paid mucho money for, that's the wrong language for Japan, but they paid big money for big men.
But he had a kind of a handlebar mustache, kind of in the
one of the blackjack Lanza kind of.
Right. Well, Dutch Mantel,
yeah,
where you twist it up on the end. Always wore the cowboy hat, But a big man for his day. Today he wouldn't be considered probably a very big man, but big man for his day. Had a lot of titles, made a lot of money, got out, had a good retirement.
And got out right before it kind of got crazy.
That's right. Yeah. A lot of those guys left a little too early.
Yeah. Because when it got crazy. The pay got crazy along with it.
The pay got real crazy in the 80s. But,
big paychecks.
Like Don Jardine, though, he made his money, saved his money well, got out. He had a couple of car washes, had a couple of laundromats, things like that, to keep a little money flowing. But made his grassroots money, and then settled down and enjoyed his retirement.
Those are probably pretty good investments. People always going to want clean cars and clean clothes.
Passed away in 2001 at age 70 from an abdominal aortic aneurysm.
Yeah.
And, he loved sailing, loved photography, doing things like that. Had a good retirement.
And that's the way it is.
And that's the way Tex McKenzie went.
All right, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John here for today, folks, but we got 2 more days to go. Also want to thank Sherwin-Williams House Paint and ProMed Ambulance Service, the Shopper's Guide, for being our wonderful sponsors for this wonderful little show. And want to remind everybody you can always catch up with us on our podcast if you miss us first thing in the morning. Places like Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Geo Savan, man, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Remember When with Uncle John. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.